Hey, everyone out there, vinyl community. Sad segment today. I just heard a few minutes ago that our beloved leader, singer, songwriter of the band, Robbie Robertson, Jamie Robbie Robinson, dead at 80, born 1943. Cut his teeth when he was about 14 or 15, left Canada, hooked up with Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks, and met some of the guys in the band, and the rest is history. It was funny. I'm reading this book. I borrowed it from Sean, my son, and I'm in shock right now. As some friends of mine are. I just texted a few of my music friends, and total bummer. This is a tough one. This is like when Beck passed away, when Tony Bennett passed away. Tony Bennett, you would expect it, a lot older, was sick. Robbie Robinson was 80. He was still, very vital. It was always alert. Just did the documentary a few years ago when we were brothers with the documentary of the band. Was just watching this not too long ago, The Last Waltz on Blu-ray. What more can I say? The farewell concert, 1976, Thanksgiving, with Ronnie Hawkins paid tribute. Van Morrison, Neil Diamond, Emmylou, Muddy Waters was unbelievable. Staple singers, Ringo, Ronnie Wood, Dr. John, Clapton, Dylan, just incredible. This book is wonderful. Read it once before. I was going through it again the last couple of weeks. I had no idea that Robbie was ill. His publicist said that he was surrounded by family and friends, his ex-wife, his current wife, I guess his kids, his grandkids, in L.A. I believe he died in L.A. on Wednesday, which is today. So don't know what happened, but you all know the history of Robbie. Started out with Ronnie Hawkins. The Last Waltz is part of our DNA. One of the only rock movies that I could actually put on and sit through, because it's never boring. You have that great variety with the band backing these people like Neil Diamond, Muddy Waters, Clapton, Bob. It's just crazy. And I was just talking to my friend Peter, and he was saying when Dylan went electric, the band was his backing band, and he said the licks that Robbie Robinson was playing and the riffs, the licks on his electric guitar, which were just historic, almost futuristic. That it was uncanny that in 1966 he's doing things like this. A young guy, but very young guy, and just sad. I believe there may be one other surviving band member left. I didn't go into that. I pulled some records to show. I just wanted to talk about this, get this off my chest on the channel. And here's, I read the New York Times review or obituary, kind of, because it said obituary to follow. The leader of the band dies at 80. Guitarist, singer-songwriter Robbie Robinson, real first name was Jamie, who led the Canadian-American group The Band to rock prominence in the 70s and worked exclusively with Dylan and Martin Scorsese, has died. He was 80. His manager of 34 years, Gerard Levine, said he was surrounded by his family, his grandchildren, etc. He recently completed his 14th music project with frequent collaborator Martin Scorsese, The Killers of the Flower Moon, which I'm really looking forward to it, with Leonardo DiCaprio and De Niro. And it says, in lieu of flowers, the family has asked donations be made to the Six Nations of the Grand River to support a new Woodland Channel culture. Because we know Robbie was Native American, and he always held that proudly. He did some LPs which were culturally Native American music. He did those. And it was funny, I was watching a great new show from season 2 called Dark Winds on AMC, and it's about a Native American police officer who is in charge of the reservation, the Navajo reservation, I believe in Arizona. And it has a great soundtrack to it. Season 2 just started, and they star Native Americans in these roles, so it's cool, and it just shows the community and what they were up against. And when this film takes place, this miniseries takes place in 1971, and my friend Ed, my good friend Ed, a music historian in his own right, texted me and said it would be cool if they used some of Robbie Robertson's music, because they did use some great music in this. And I was listening to it, watching it last night. We were talking. We didn't know Robbie Robertson was sick, and I said, "Yeah, but this takes place in '71. Robbie was still with the band, and his solo stuff came out in the '80s or '87, '88. So they didn't have that to use. I'm sure they would have, but they did use, which was interesting, a Stone song. When I watched it last night, Pleased to Meet You. They didn't use Pleased to Meet You, but it was, I think it's something from Beggar's Banquet or Let It Bleed, but it was from that time period. So I'm reading the book, Robbie Robertson, who I can't say enough of, changed the musical culture. So many American artists listened to the band and changed their music from like a rock and roll to Americana. Delaney and Bonnie come to mind. Harrison, Clapton, of course, Dylan. It just went on and on. They even mentioned that Elton John's Tumbleweed Connection was influenced somehow by the band, as was countless others. Definitely Clapton. You know, Clapton and Robbie were great friends. Clapton shows up at the last waltz. So at 80 years old, great life, did it all. Just started finishing up with Martin Scorsese's last film. And I always remember he was known in the credits as the man who picks the music. And that's Robbie Robertson. Now, started out with Raging Bull, 1980, I think, King of Comedy, The Color of Money, Casino, probably Goodfellas. But just imagine that job, to work with Scorsese and get to pick. I could do it. I know a lot of you guys out there know the fabric of our music, that we could pick it, and it's so cool. And I remember Tarantino. He loves our music. And Quentin Tarantino, I once saw in a documentary. I know this is off base, but it's the same fabric of what I'm talking about. Quentin said that he'll go into his music room where he has vinyl. I would love to see his vinyl collection. And he would go through music, and from the music he saw, he would create in his mind a scene in an upcoming film and know where that music will be. So it's really cool, you know. So great book. And just to read a little this review by Scorsese in here. A book of memories and wonders, a personal testament of a magical time in American music from someone who was there at the center of it all. You can feel the music in every word, and you can, because he talks about how he got his first guitar, how he broke away from Canada. I think he took a train by himself, you know, went and got his axe and auditioned for Ronnie Hawkins. And nobody tells a story like Robbie Robertson. Across every page, you can feel his love, passion, and musical genius. That's Geffen. And he was on the Geffen label on some of the solo albums. But I remember a quote from The Last Waltz when in between which is why The Last Waltz is so great, in between the musical segments, they're doing a little bit of background documentary stuff. And he talks about meeting Muddy and all the blues guys. And he talks about when he first auditioned with Ronnie Hawkins. And I don't know where the conversation was, but I just remember Ronnie's line. And I think it was something to do with, Ronnie said, look, it's a lot of work. You're not going to be getting paid a lot. You're going to be working shit clubs. It was probably like the Chitlin circuit in the South. They were working North America, Canada on down. And he said, it's not glamorous, but you'll get more pussy than Frank Sinatra. And me and my friend Ed always Ed used to quote that line, and I got that. So that was Robbie Robinson. Great sense of humor. So I'm just going to show some of my albums. He started out with Ronnie Hawkins, and the band evolved. They became the backing band for Dylan, the band, thus the band. And they played with Dylan on a couple of albums, Dylan albums, The Last Waltz, Planet Waves, maybe some more. I don't know off the top of my head. But just as a footnote, I keep my band records in my Dylan collection. So that's what I pulled today. You can see some of them in the back. I'm just going to go randomly. This is Cahoots, Levon Helm, Rick Danko, Garth Hudson, Richard Manuel, Robbie Robertson, Life is a Carnival, When I Paint My Masterpiece, written by Dylan. One of my favorite albums of all time, Cahoots. And I believe this is a green, nice green Capitol. Very desirable, very nice sounding. Here we have Rock of Ages, live, the band live, 72, probably from 71. The trifold, the triple trifold, and just to show you that. This has Stage Fright, Don't Do It, King Harvest, Caledonia, The Weight, The Shape of Him, Life is a Carnival, Chest Fever, just amazing. This is actually recorded by Phil Ramone, mixed down at Bearville Studios, which is Todd Rundgren, recorded at the Academy of Music on the eclipse of the new year, 71 to 72. It came out in 72. And this is a really nice copy of this. Next I have, how can we forget, the band, Basement Tapes, Indelible, Americana. Just, you all know the history. This is only the 2-record set. There's box sets on this. There's biographies from Dylan's bootleg series. This is just amazing. This was also recorded or mixed down by Bob Fraboni. And it was, produced by Dylan and the band. But Garth Hudson, actually was the recording engineer. And I'll show you the gatefold. I'm still in shock. I just pulled these. I don't have any history to tell that I don't know off the top of my head. I'm just talking spontaneously here. Just want to make this announcement to the VC community. It's sad I just did one on Tony Bennett, just did one on Jeff Beck, but this hits hard. I love Robbie Robertson's music. I love the band. This was recorded and mixed down by, engineer was Todd Rundgren, mixed down by Glenn Johns, recorded in Woodstock. The Shape I'm In, Stage Fright, The Rumor, the band, Stage Fright. Next is we have the Planet Waves, which I talked about. This is an OG copy, textured. You can see the little hype sticker. The suits at Asylum said, we need to get Dylan on here, not just Planet Waves. And this is actually a Dylan drawing, Dylan painting. And it's the band, Robbie Robertson, Rick Danko, Levon Helm, Garth Hudson, Richard Manuel, recorded by Bob Fraboni again, November 5, 6, and 9 in West LA, the Village Recorder. And you'll see on one of the band albums that I'll bring up, the back is very similar with this cut up back. And this has some variants. Here's what was on the outside in the shrink wrap. And I just want to talk about this record really quickly. I think I mentioned this once before on my channel, but this record, if you get an original copy, it's a really audiophile sounding record where Dylan is there. He's in the room with you. Just really spot on. Engineer Bob Fraboni did a great job on this. And this, of course, has Forever Young, You Angel You. It's just a great Dylan band collaboration. And here we have the great Moondog Matinee on Capitol. Same lineup. These are covers. Promised Land, Great Pretender, A Change Is Gonna Come, Holy Cow, Ain't Got No Home. I love this record too. This was actually an RL, a Robert Ludwig, and it was a Sterling Sound, SS in the dead wax. So this is a really nice pristine copy. Here again, Bob Dylan and the band, Before the Flood. And the band does solo on here, and they back Bob. That's the typical lineup. This is also mixing engineer and recorded by Rob Fraboni and Phil Ramone, who did a few other band records. There's the gatefold. And this has on it a track on side 4. Side 4 is a classic. All Along the Watchtower, Highway 61 revisited, Like a Rolling Stone and Blowing in the Wind. But All Along the Watchtower is my second favorite next to Hendrix, because Hendrix, even Dylan said Hendrix took that song and it's his song. And more so than the original Dylan recording, this live All Along the Watchtower is a keeper. Here I have the album I was telling you about with the back similar to Planet Waves. It's the best of the band. This is also on Capitol. Don't Do It, The Shape I'm In, The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. Just think, a Canadian kid, part American, North American Indian, Native American Indian, wrote The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. I believe Levon Helms sang it, or I forget, but that I get the chills thinking about that song. He wrote that song. It was as if he was there when he penned that song. Just that song alone, you go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So it makes no difference. This is produced by the band Stage Fright. Some great pictures. And I hope I get a good thumbnail. I'm not really good at making my own thumbnails. I know it's important, and I wish I could do it. I'm really learning this whole YouTube channel thing. But my thumbnails are picked randomly. I get to pick three or two, and sometimes I get lucky. Sometimes my man Elvis is in it, which always makes me look good. But I'm just hoping for a good one. So I'm holding this stuff up. Hopefully the camera will take a picture of that. Here we have another Cahoots, which I showed. I'm just going to show you the back cover, how young they were. It's almost like the picture of the Last Supper here. I'm not sure. When I paint my masterpieces on here. Here's one of Robbie's solo albums that I have. I think I have a couple more on CD, but I just pulled these. I just got word, sent out some text, and I'm just still in shock. But this is a great album. This is more of Native American type music. This was mixed by Bob Clearmountain, and mastered by Rob Ludwig at Master Disc. So this pedigree, and it just sounds fantastic. Very rhythmic. All the songs with Robbie Robertson. There's even a song in here with U2 that he does. Let's see who else. Robbie Robertson. U2 Mobile Studios. They list Martin Page, but recommend it. And you could go on YouTube and listen to it before you buy it. I'm sure the vinyl is going to be a little pricey now. Again, a classic. Stage Fright. Textured cover. A little damage there. We'll fix that. Beautiful watercolor. Engineered by Todd Rundgren, like I said. And, of course, for the last, I'm going to show The Last Waltz. This is one of my favorite albums of all time, one of my favorite rock movies of all time. It's one, like I said earlier, it's one of the only rock movies that I could sit through and watch the whole thing, especially like Thanksgiving. I think it was recorded on Thanksgiving, The Last Waltz. It's funny, that and Alice's Restaurant last, Thanksgiving. But Last Waltz, a triple record. It's got a nice booklet. I'll show you some of that. And Martin Scorsese directed this. And this is just a wonderful move. The Blu-ray is actually just as good as the vinyl, sound-wise. Even when Scorsese goes into a studio and records the Staple Singers, it gives you the chills. The Staple Singers weren't at the actual live performance, I don't believe. They were recorded at a sound stage, a studio, like for movies, soundstage, and just amazing. Again, Joni Mitchell, Van Morrison, the Staples, Ringo, Muddy, Ronnie Wood, Neil Young, of course, I forgot to mention, another Canadian, Joni Mitchell, Canadian, Dr. John. And this music that the band, this is only 76, and they were already legends, 76. So in a few short periods, they became bigger than we could ever imagine. And they changed the course of rock. I call it an Americana sound. It's timeless. It's ageless. It's not dated. We on a band like Dylan. It doesn't have a date to it. It's not like the 80s where it's dated. It's not like the 90s where it's dated, or the 50s, 60s. You could tell that music's from the 60s, but the music's going to be timeless. It's just timeless. So rest in peace, Robbie. There's not much more I could say. I just wanted to send this out there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the subs. And if you haven't subbed, it would be. I would be happy if you did it. You don't have to, but it would be nice. I enjoy everyone else's VC channels, and I support everyone's channel. And I just want to thank everybody again for bearing with me on this. This caught me off out of left field. Once again, I'll hold this up. Robbie Robinson dead at 80 years old. Died Wednesday, 2023, August. And, what can I say? Thanks for watching. Keep rocking, keep trucking. And Robbie is never going to go away. We always have his videos. We always have his music and his great interviews. There's a ton of interviews that I've been watching just for the hell of it, because I love his stories. That's why I have this. But I love his story. So he's out there. If you're interested, if you dig the band, go for it. So thanks a lot. Keep rocking, and we'll see you at the next segment. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.